Hey fam, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's season 18, episode 3 of Sister Wives. Now, the first two episodes have been slow to start, but I think this episode is kind of the one we've all been waiting for. Let's see, how can I categorize it? Finally, Janelle tells Cody off, Mary is starting to wake up, and Robin is pretending again that she doesn't know what's going on. All right, let's jump into it right after the jingle. So, when we start off this episode, 18:3, K-pop is on a man's trip. That's what I'm affectionately, or not affectionately, calling Cody Two Curls. That's kind of how I referred to him before. So we have his brother, his friend Nathan, who apparently has been through what Cody is going through now, which is having been divorced and now married again, or has a wife at home that he loves, but also has one that's left him. Yeah, they're two peas in the same pod. And he also has his friend who is not a polygamist, who basically is the sane one talking something that made sense into his head, although I don't know what capacity his head has to hold anything that makes sense. And then we have, again, his brother, who really didn't say a whole lot. I think he said probably one sentence in this entire time that they talked. Now, his friend that is not the polygamist says, going through divorce is like going through the 5 stages of grief. And of course, Mr. Know-It-All has to say, well, I'm probably stuck in the anger phase. You think? Since you did tell Christine last week that you had anger problems, or I guess it was week before last, yeah, you're probably going to be stuck in the anger phase for a really long time. Because as we know and see later in this episode, it is never your fault. It is always someone else's fault, which is the classic definition of a narcissist. Just you wait, everybody, because I'm going to get to that Cody cuss out. Oh yes, it's coming. So, Square Jaw is sitting on the couch, and of course she is talking about how being with him during this divorce time kind of puts you on what's called the Cody coaster. She even gives us an imitation or a play on how it must feel. The thing is that you're the one who caused the coaster to go into motion. You're the one who waved the people in through that little line. You're the one who sat them down in the seats. You put yourself in the back so you can say that nothing happened, and all the other wives are in front of you crashing head first into the pavement because that coaster is now off the rails. Yeah, you've been on that coaster for about 10 years, but nobody ever said or pointed out until this episode that it was your fault that the go button got pushed, right? So, of course, he reminds us that he thought Christine was playing a game when she set his stuff out. Again, he's talking to his friends. And he says that he gets there and he's like, what's going on? She must be playing a game. Gotcha. Game over. And basically, fool on you. Because she wasn't playing a game. And you didn't hear her cry for needing attention, and that she couldn't be in a marriage that was loveless and had no intimacy. So she put your stuff in a box to the left. Now you want to be butthurt about it. Or I guess you're just still talking about it. Move on, bro. Move on. Honestly, I don't really buy this if I really think about it, because what it is that you can't have it your way. So you have to pretend that you're not upset about that woman getting the upper hand. You keep saying that you're more upset about the children, but that basically, it's like whatever with Christine. I'm past that part. It's the kid part that I'm really upset about. Then we move on and we hear the wives talk about something that they used to call Testosterone Tuesday, which was basically his man time to hang out with his friends. And of course, oh wise one, the Oracle, says, a man needs man time and a woman needs woman time. Okay. We go back to him and he talks about polygamy kind of being a gift to dilute personalities, and that having more wives basically would enable him to get away if he was feeling cantankerous, or she could get away if she was feeling cantankerous. Now, we go to Mary, who I think only appeared probably twice in this episode, but I have to say that I was with her when she said it made me want to vomit. Stop and take a look at the whole picture. Find out how to work together as a married couple or as a family. Don't use people as an escape. My Lord, I think Mary just woke up. I heard a key turn in her brain. And I think that this was a bit of foreshadowing to what we're going to see later in the season when she finally sits them down and says, I don't want to be here. It's not what I want. We cut to Christine, who's reflecting on the fact that she did everything he wanted when they were married. So it wasn't that she hated polygamy, it was that she was being a good polygamist wife, but when she asked you for help, you said no. I would leave you too, bud, because there was more than one instance that we've now heard about where she asked you for help. When her children were young and she had to go to work at night, all she needed you to do was put the kids to bed. But you would rather that a 10-year-old child do that job than for you to walk the 10 steps to go through a door and do it as the father of those children. When she was in the hospital having Truly, you were not there to hold her hand. You were off kissing your new trophy wife. What's funny is that we now hear him say to Janelle that she's lying. He said that you lie. You tell the kids lies. And she goes, I don't lie. Now, the interesting thing about that is because remember last season, Squarejaw also accused Christine of lying. So apparently they are the king and queen of knowing when everyone's lying. And as Janelle does say, yes, you and Robin are the paragon of honesty and perfection. I love that she's finally saying it. Now, I'm not saying that it's never been said behind closed doors, but I'm glad that she's finally saying it to us because it's also what we feel. And maybe, just maybe, she is hearing what we have to say and saying, listen, I don't know if you watched the show or not, but pay attention. Think back on all the things that were happening. But again, as Janelle said, she's a very smart woman. Now, she said this about something else, but she is a very smart woman. And so I'm sure that she has seen the very same things that Christine has seen, but Janelle has been trying to be who Janelle always has been, a person of integrity, a person who makes a choice and sticks with it and doesn't waver and doesn't just make a call in an irrational state of mind, which I appreciate, which makes me love Janelle a lot. So he turns to the camera because Janelle says that he's also manipulating, and he turns to the camera and says, I want you to tell me, how have I manipulated you? No, tell the world how I've manipulated you, and then go out and hang with your buddy Christine. Yeah, that sounds like some jealousy to me. And it sounds like that you're jealous she gets to hang out with Christine and you don't. You know that song, I think it's Joni Mitchell. Is it Joni Mitchell? Where she goes like, on and on to the break of dawn. You don't know what you lost till it's gone. Yeah, you don't know what you lost. Well, actually, I think you do know what you lost. Because one man's trash is another one's treasure. David Woolley. Just saying. Just saying. One. There was a point in the argument where she starts to say to Cody, I think you're using this to justify. And then I think he either cuts her off or she stops talking. But I really wanted Janelle to say what was on her mind because I felt like I could finish her sentence. You are using this to justify only being with Robin. Because right before that, she says, I am not sure that you wanted or was not sure you wanted to still be in a polygamous marriage or a polygamous relationship. And I think you're using this to justify. This is an excuse. We've heard this before. He's using this as an excuse. This is just another level of an excuse to get everybody to believe that we can't be together unless we work it out. And it's another reason that he can be and stay with Robin and her children. Honestly, Janelle, like I'm so glad that we know how this all turns out. But it's one of those things where when I'm watching the show, and I wonder if anyone else feels like that, I watch the show and I lose myself so much in it that I forget that when I turn it off or while I'm watching, that we already know the end game of this. We already know what happens. We know where he is now. And we know that Janelle ultimately says, I am not with this person. She doesn't say she's divorced, but she's not with this person anymore. And I do believe that you're right. All of you have been right about him the whole time. But of course, you know, we have Mary who's been trying to stick it out. And I do have some thoughts about that before the end of this video. He blames the boys for bringing COVID home from dating and being social, but again, he forgets that the nanny brought COVID to their house, and it was right after Ariela's party. We finally get to the end of this argument, and finally Janelle says, "Shut your effing mouth and let me finish." You know, we've seen a little bit of this in Janelle when he tried to get her to buy Christine's house. She kind of opened up and just said, "I want my own house." She put her foot down. I would imagine there are other things that Janelle has really put her foot down on. We may not have seen those things, but tonight she had had enough. She'd had enough and felt like this was really final. This fight was really the straw that broke the camel's back. So when he looks back in a few years and realizes that he again turned a really wonderful person out into the street, if you will, as far as this marriage goes, he can know the exact moment that it happened because we have it now documented, right? And basically, he did exactly what Janelle accused him of doing, which was to find a way to push her out the door. He says, "I don't expect you to help me with the kids. I don't expect you to co-parent. I don't expect you to be in support of me, of the things that I need to be supported in. And so if those things are not happening, what kind of relationship do we have?" So he can look back on that himself and say, well, I tried to say that because you weren't doing these things, we had no relationship. And if you had just done those things, we would have. I'm so glad you got out of this, Janelle. I am so glad you got out of it. Janelle says that this was the biggest fight that she can remember having, that there was a finality to it, and that eventually she tells him to come get his stuff. So at least she told you. At least you don't have to be confused and think she's playing a game. She also says that he, in this faith, will never say to his wife that he wants her to go or that he's leaving her, because that in their faith is something that he doesn't feel like he can do. So he'd rather have you say it. To me, I mean, yeah, that is probably a part of their faith, but that's also a part of being like a junior in high school, maybe, or maybe even a middle schooler. You know, I'm not going to say anything to her. I'm going to wait till she comes to me. Again, classic narcissist behavior. And middle school behavior, you know. Then she realizes after he leaves, she goes, "Oh my gosh. The minute he walked out of the door, I realized I have nothing. I'm 50 years old and I have nothing. I'm a very smart woman, but I wasn't that smart financially. And so everything that I have is tied up in this property." So see, Christine was smart. Christine was very smart to buy her own home, to make the deal, to give him whatever the property was worth. Let me keep what I got for my house being sold. And you all, we just split and part ways. Now, the funny part is, not funny part, but the interesting part is that Janelle was the one who was the financially fiscal one. She was the one who kept the books, who went to the accountant, who did the taxes. So it's interesting to me because, and it's sad to me, because she said, "I trusted in this family structure." Sometimes you just got to look out for yourself, whether it be a family structure, a corporate structure, your own structure. Sometimes you just really have to make sure that all your business is in place and that you take care of yourself first, because you just never know. And I would like to believe that if I were in this situation, I would have seen the issues soon enough to maybe put those things into place. But again, I'm only speaking from seeing what's happened and not sort of being right in the forefront of that kind of relationship. I'm kind of thinking that she might think back and wish that she had just stayed in Wyoming all those years ago when she didn't know if she wanted to move with the family or come back to the family. Of course, he leaves Janelle's house and goes right over to Mary's house, but because he told her he would. Not because he wants to confide in her what happened, because of course he's gone right home to Sponge Rob Squarejaw and told her everything that's happened. But of course, she plays her, "I'm so surprised. You yelled at each other? There was a fight? What happened?" We know he told you everything as soon as you either got in the car or he got in the house, because the twosome gruesome rolled up together on Mary like, "Okay, let's talk about Christmas. What's everybody doing?" And Mary's like, "They're being weird. Something's up with them. What's going on?" They talk about Christmas. They say like 500 times, okay, Christine's coming after. They're going to get an Airbnb. How many times do these people have to say, we're getting an Airbnb. We are not coming to your house. You are not invited. I guess you could stop by, but it's going to be weird. Mary's having Christmas Eve at her house, but she's not going to invite everybody. What the what? You know, if there's one kind of conversation that drives me nuts, it's the conversation where somebody repeats what the other person says, and that's the entirety of the conversation. Like, she's coming after Christmas. She's coming after Christmas. Okay, well, he just said it, and they've been saying it because you all knew it and agreed. Whatever. Finally, Mary says, well, I guess I'm not going to invite everybody. I'm feeling really weird because I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle, you guys. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Mary, you're not in the middle. You're there, and you're the neutral party. You're the one that he's not fighting with or wants to be with. So, yes, you're in the middle, but not really. Because unless, like you said, if you go to their house, you're going to Robin and Cody's house. If they come to your house, they're coming to your house. Not you and Kotex's house. Your house. See the difference? Yes, which is why I'm so happy that at the end of this season or somewhere in between, you finally say, I don't want to be here. It's not what I want. Y'all, I cannot talk about this episode anymore because, again, it's just more about Christmas. It's more about how they're not going to spend Christmas together. And then, of course, we see upcoming next week what is going to happen then. Oh, I hope that you all listen to this on your way to work. I hope you have opinions and you leave those in the comments. Yeah, that was this week's episode. I don't really have a whole lot more to say, so I'm going to let you go, and hopefully you have the day you deserve and that your job is one you want to be driving to or sitting at the desk that you love. And if you want to do whatever you want to do, know that there is enough room for everybody. Don't let anybody tell you any different. I'm going to see y'all later. Peace, love, and hair grace. Bye-bye.